right, so moving on to what I probably will consider my favorite movie of the weekend. No shock, it's a horror movie. We're going to go to The Wretched, which is written and directed by Brett Pierce and Drew T. Pierce, the Pierce brothers. They are, brand new directors, basically. I think this is their first feature. But this movie tells a story of young Ben. He is the defiant teenage boy struggling with his parents' imminent divorce. And now, after moving to his dad's home for the summer to just spend some time with his dad, but also work out some issues of his own and actually make some money. He works at his dad's docking company. It's for like summer docks and like the yachts that the yuppie boys on vacation will rent out. He suddenly has to face off a 1,000-year-old witch, which is living in the skin of his neighbor next door. Yeah, it's disgusting. So, once again, a movie that I knew really nothing of. I think the most that I got from it was that you texted it to me and said, "Do you want to watch The Wretched?" And I said, "What is it?" Or actually, no. What I said was, "Is it horror?" Because I just heard the title and said, "That's probably a horror movie." And you said yes, and I said, "In." So, and then I saw all these reviews popping up, and I was like, "Okay, I guess I gotta watch it." So, I thoroughly enjoyed this movie for many reasons. For one, I'm a big fan of throwback horror. Like some of my favorite horror movies of all time are movies like, my favorite movie of all time, or horror movie of all time, is Evil Dead 2, which takes place in the 80s. So I love pretty much anything with an 80s aesthetic, or like an old school filmmaking, horror filmmaking in particular, aesthetic. And this movie does it really well, but the clever thing that I appreciate is that they don't make it take place in the 80s. I think that's the one thing that all of these movies and like TV shows will try to do, is say, people love the 80s feel, so let's just make it take place in the 80s. And I'm like, you don't necessarily have to do that. And this movie did it that way, where it says, hey, we can have a movie that takes place in 2019 or 2020, probably 2019 or 2018, and just make it feel like one of those movies. Like, from the moment that the movie started, it had like this like creep factor to it. It starts off hard with a gruesome murder and cannibalism. It's wild. But immediately after that, you're introduced to the main character, Ben, and suddenly it's like, wow, this feels like I'm watching old school Spielberg movie. It feels like, I know he like didn't direct this, but apparently he also directed it. It felt a bit like Poltergeist when they're introducing all the characters in that movie, or it felt like a little bit like E.T. at times, because it focuses on this teenage boy, or like these, the kids in the neighborhood. It felt like a Stephen King novel, in fact, actually. And I think, if anything I could say about this movie, is that this is essentially the It 2 that I wanted. Like, I found, the idea of like a witch that's hunting down the children in a neighborhood. I found it really refreshing. And like I said, when I was watching it, I was like, oh my god, this is the movie that I wanted last year. This feels great. And I had a really good time watching it. For one, I think all the characters are really, really likable. There really isn't, other than like the obvious bullies who are there to be assholes. Ben, I found to be a very, very likable person. And yeah, he is a apparently troubled boy, and I'll get to why I say apparently, but he seems like a really nice kid overall. He seems like he has a pretty good relationship with his dad. He meets the other girl who works on his at his job, named Mallory, played by Piper Curda, and she's great. She's cool. Immediately, the thing that really tipped me off that I liked her was the fact that she said, she had like a thing of Starburst, and she offers it to Ben, and then Ben gets it, and he gets the lemon one. And everybody knows that the lemon ones are the worst ones. She was like, please, if it's not cherry or strawberry, what are you doing? And I was like, yes, thank you. Oh my god, I'm in love. So she was really, really cool. You also meet his dad's new girlfriend named Sarah, who originally I was thinking they're going to do like the kind of trope of, oh, she's the quote unquote mistress, and she doesn't like kids and blah 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 blah, but she's actually a human character. She's very nice, very sweet, and you really like her. And even when you meet the family next door, before all the events of the movie start to take place, I believe her name is Abby, the main woman who ends up getting possessed. She's really cool. Her husband's pretty cool. Her son, who is Dylan, also like a really cool like kid. You really, really dig all the characters who exist in this movie, and you don't want anything bad to happen to them. And when bad things start happening to everybody, you feel bad, and that's just good filmmaking. But also, like I said, the aesthetic of the movie is great. It starts off with like a synthy score, and eventually, it takes its way off. It goes away from that because I don't think they want to do the Stranger Things thing. Where while I love that soundtrack because I love synthwave, it feels a little heavy-handed at times. Where it's like clearly we know the kind of movie you're trying to be. So this movie says, okay, well we'll go back to a normal horror score that you don't want to bump to, but it still fits the aesthetic of the movie and feels good. And you can also tell, like, the influences of certain things, like, like I said, like, I got, like, E.T. vibes at times, Stranger Things vibes, Goonies vibes, Poltergeist vibes, and they do them without feeling like they're cheating and, like, copying straight from the movie, which I really appreciate. If there's one thing about the movie I think it struggled with, it's, once again, conveying the whole story of Ben and him being a troubled teen. We don't really necessarily see him anything or do anything bad. The most that he does in the beginning of the movie is he's out at the store and he's getting water, and he notices that there's a sign at the front desk saying like the person who owns the store is taking a nap or going to the bathroom or something. Make your own. It says make your own damn change. And he's like, oh, cool, I could just take more stuff. So he, like, pockets, like, a handful of candy, and then the dog at the front of the store, like, starts growling at him, and he's like, okay, fine. And he pays for it eventually. But then it's also, like, that's the only really bad thing we see him do. Like, other than that, at one point, he's supposed to have dinner with Sarah and his dad, and, just to finally meet his dad's new girlfriend, and he doesn't go. He ends up going to a party. But nothing necessarily says that he's a boy with issues. At one point, his dad asks him, like, if he's high after, he's trying to tell everybody what's going on and nobody believes him. And I'm like, okay, well, maybe he had a drug issue back at home with his mom. But, like I said, we don't really see that. So I think in that sense, they were kind of lacking more depth into his past. And maybe a bit of, lacking depth in the relationship with him and his father. But it was never anything to really detract me from the movie and the overall quality of it. Also, I do want to shout out Abby, the mom who gets possessed next door, played by Zara Mahler. Gives an incredibly well done and physical performance. Like when she's really feeling the effects of this witch, it's like infecting her body, and she has to move in certain ways that are creepy. And you also get this performance that starts off as like a very like normal performance, and then she does a bait and switch of just coldness and calculating, and she's just staring at Ben, saying like, "I will break your..." Oh yeah, he has like a broken arm. She's like, "I will break your other arm so quickly if you don't let me into your house." And you're like, "Oh my god, like who's this woman?" But then also the makeup for the witch. You only see it in certain moments throughout the movie, and like I said, they do that thing where it's like shrouded in darkness. But when you see certain effects based off of her character, it's really, really cool and very practical, and I always appreciate practical effects. There's also one scene where like the witch is actually coming out of somebody's body, and they I'm assuming do that thing of somebody's laying on the ground and maybe they're on a set, so like their body is like hidden underneath like the rest of the set, and then the middle portion is a rubber body, so that way it's like easier for the person to actually come out of the ground and make it look like they're coming out of that person's body. It looks really cool, and I really appreciate anything practical. I think to me that is the key of really selling your gore. And the movie is gory. Like I said, the beginning of the movie, you see people being, or a child actually being eaten, and you're like, Jesus Christ, what am I getting myself into? And at that point, I was watching it with Simone, and she was just on her phone, and at that point she was like, okay, I'm sold, let's watch this. And she was really into it for the rest of the movie.
Wow, my girlfriend would have been like, turn that off.
Yep. So, I mean, like, Simone was terrified, but at the same time she was like, I need to know more, I need to know how this ends. And that's the other thing. This movie has a great story, and it also has really good twists. It sells its twists so well, and there's sort of twists where, like, I could tell there was more to the movie, but then I wasn't really sure where it was going to go. Like, I didn't see the twist coming at all. And granted, now we'll kind of spoil it because I'm saying there is a twist, but the twist that they have, I was like, oh my god, that makes so much sense. Wow, I can't believe I didn't see that. So, I think it's a very, very smart horror. Like I said, I really, really enjoyed this thing. It is getting mixed reviews online recently. I think a lot of people are kind of focusing on the comparison of it feeling like a Stranger Things episode or something like that, and I think that people are just kind of harshing on it too much. I really dig this movie, and I think any horror fan will find a lot of enjoyment out of it. So I'm gonna give this my third consecutive 4 out of 5. I really, really enjoyed this movie. It's got its faults with the character of Ben, I will say that, but I think overall this movie is incredibly fun. Pretty scary at times. It did make me jump a few times. I think it's well directed. I think it's well acted, and I really dig it.